Hi, I'm Matt Wong. I'm the owner and managing director of IFly Indoor Skydiving New Zealand. Behind me is a vertical wind tunnel, and what we do is we simulate indoor skydiving in an indoor environment, obviously. It's that free fall component when you jump out of a plane and you free fall without the parachute. So what we do here is we fly first time skydiving customers in the wind tunnel. Flies at around 250 kilometres an hour. Which is sort of around your free fall speed, and we cater for all from 5 years old right through to 105. And we also work with all abilities, those with disabilities, whether mental or physical disabilities, and we work with pro flyers, so that might be military or it might be professional skydivers. So the last 12 months during the pandemic have been quite tough for tourism in Queenstown, and certainly across the country as well. My staff, I employ 16 people, and we decided when we went into lockdown that we would make an effort to try and hold on to all 16. It paid off at the end, so we had 8 weeks of lockdown, and we were told to pivot, and we had to reinvent ourselves quite dramatically. So what we did when we came out of lockdown was we started selling a lot of gift vouchers. We discounted our product, and we did a lot of research on what Kiwis would pay for our product. We launched to the market and we advertised, but a lot of operators in tourism stopped advertising. We took advantage of that opportunity and we tried to play where no one else was. And that was holding on to your staff, start advertising, discount your product so that it matches what the Kiwis were willing to pay for the product, and then start developing products in such a way that it was more palatable for the Kiwi market. The domestic market, certainly in the last 12 months, has been a lifesaver, certainly for our business and for our staff, and they are the reason that we managed to retain everyone within the business and we managed to survive 2020. It is a unique market, it's very different. Kiwis think differently, especially when they're spending within their own country. I think when you think about going on holiday in your own country, you're a little bit more conservative with how much you're going to spend and what you're going to do. What we found though, because our product, IFly Indoor Skydiving, is quite a novel business. Not many Kiwis have experienced skydiving, certainly not indoors anyway, and so we really attracted a lot of Kiwis to our product. We also reduced the price. We knew again that Kiwis are quite savvy with their pricing, and we had to reflect that in what we did. We developed new products, so we developed more of a family orientated product. So indoor skydiving, we've got a phrase, skydiving approved by mum. So that wraps up a whole heap of things: safety, security, it's fun, it's engaging, and it's for all ages and abilities. So we really targeted that family market and we produced a few products around that. But again, without those domestics, we probably wouldn't have survived last year. So the Kiwi market is very diverse. We are no longer just the Pākehā and Māori. There's Pacific Islanders, there's Indians, there's Chinese, and we're a melting pot. And New Zealand has been built on migrant customers, if you like. So we need to ensure that we are speaking to everybody, and no matter who that customer is, we need to make sure that we're hitting the right voice, the right tone, the right messaging. What we try and do is we try and keep it simple so that everyone understands, and actually in this tunnel it's quite noisy, there's a lot of sensory overload. So we actually use hand signals, which is universal, and they're very basic, but it communicates very nicely. Part of the planning stages that we're going through in terms of the business is planning for what's going to happen next. With any business strategy, you're always thinking a few months ahead. You're predicting what the government's going to announce. We are going to see more borders opening. We're probably going to see more borders opening to Southeast Asia first, like Singapore, for example. And so we need to be looking at getting back to some of those cultural diverse markets that we had before COVID hit. Before COVID hit, we had a significant number from Southeast Asia and China coming through, and from South America. And that's going to go back to the way it was again in terms of those countries opening up to us. It might take some time, so we might be talking 12, 24 months, maybe even a little bit longer for some of those countries to start coming back. The reality is though, unless we get rid of the lake, the big mountains, the landscapes, the stories, the people, the culture, unless we get rid of that essence of why people travel to New Zealand, it's not going to go away anytime soon. That desire to come to New Zealand is still there, and it's still stronger than ever, in fact. So we need to start thinking about some of these other cultures that are coming through. But if we just take Australia, for example, we are now developing a strategy for Australia, not for Australians, the typical Australians you'd think about. It's actually for Chinese Australians. Now there's a significant market of Chinese in Australia. Now they have Australian passports, or they are Australian citizens or residents, but they still think more the traditional Chinese avenues, and we are marketing them through the more Chinese traditional sort of marketing avenues. There needs to be a strategy for that, but then again, when Singapore turns on and some of the other Southeast Asian countries, they won't be too far away, and you can't react when the borders open. You need to be reacting before that and turning on as you go, making sure that you're ready so that when the customers actually arrive here, your staff know what to do, your business has a plan, and you can reap the rewards of it. One of the things that I really want to see, certainly within our industry, is a lot more collaboration. So especially SMEs. So tourism in New Zealand is made up of a large number of small to medium enterprises, ma and pa operations. They're very entrepreneurial, they're fighters, they're resilient, but what we tend to do is we're quite insular and we don't actually work together. What I'm driving, and some of the other operators in Queenstown, some of the small players, we've got this sort of idea or philosophy around small fish swim together. There's a lot more power in small operators getting together and collaborating than there is in us trying to compete with each other. And certainly if we want to rebuild a better tourism industry, we need to be more supportive of each other, think positively, and start engaging in other industries. So it might be education, or it might be tech, or it might be any other sort of industry. We need to start working outside of just tourism.